Hey, James Rath here. In this video, I want to talk about what I see as a gamer who is legally blind with less than 10% of sight when I'm playing video games. Many people may not realize this, but blind people like to have fun too, and video games are pretty fun. We're going to talk about that, what makes certain games accessible. So what exactly is legally blind? Well, much like any other disability, blindness is a spectrum, and it's not an on and off switch like many people may think when they think of the term blind. People who are blind, actually considered medically and legally blind, actually have some type of sight, whether it's seeing shapes, light, it could be blurriness, of course, well, it's most definitely blurriness to the point where maybe there is no blur, but we see things with different kinds of lenses and filters, and for me, I will just sort of state what I have. I have ocular albinism, so I have a lack of pigment in my eyes, and I can't take in a whole lot of light for too long. For instance, here I am without my sunglasses on, which I do tend to do in a lot of videos and when I'm streaming, but I can only take it for so long, and it will actually cause a migraine if my eyes are exposed to light for so much time. And I also have to edit this video and review footage, so I'm gonna keep the sunglasses on for now, so thank you for understanding. These are not just a fashion product, they are a medical aid. So on top of that lack of pigment from the albinism, I also have nystagmus. My vision is just blurry in general. With nystagmus, my eyes are constantly shaking back and forth, and maybe this is where I'll let you see my eyes again. I show in other videos, and I kind of show what I see around in the real world in a video called What I Can and Cannot See as a Legally Blind Person. You may notice my eyes are shaking, they're moving. I can't control that. They like to dance, it's their thing. I respect that passion. And at the same time, I'm seeing things in vertigo. Things are constantly shaking, they're moving and grooving. Again, my vision cannot be corrected. The thing, with wearing sunglasses, it helps diminish light, helps my eyes have a little bit more stamina for longer periods of time because of that. I am not a doctor, I'm not a ophthalmologist. Maybe Dr. Mike can refer me to someone who could better explain my vision and how the eyes work. So just a brief history on my experience with gaming. I'm getting back into it. It's something that I actually kind of fell out of for a couple years, but I really have been getting back into it thanks with the Switch, getting involved with wanting to make gaming more accessible because growing up, it was not the most accessible thing for me. Gaming becoming accessible for blind audiences, I think, is something that is amazing. My earliest memory, in fact, is actually of a video game. It's Pokemon. It's Pokemon Blue and Yellow that I had. My brother had Red, and I was 3 years old, and we had the Game Boy with the magnifier and the light that you put over the screen to actually make it kind of visible. And in fact, I'm going to talk about games such as Mario Kart, Pokemon, The Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man Remastered, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury that just came out on the Switch. We're talking about tons of games in this video and what I see. The first game that we're going to tackle is Super Mario 3D World. I'm going to take my sunglasses off. So this is a re-release game. It was originally released on the Wii U, Super Mario 3D World, but now it has plus Bowser's Fury. It's kind of an expansion of this game, but also a game within itself. It feels sort of like a whole new title, so it's kind of like 2-in-1. Bowser's Fury gives you full camera control. It feels like a 3D Mario game, kind of like something like Galaxy or Odyssey. Super Mario 3D World is a fixed camera in a 3D environment, but there's sometimes weird camera angles. It's sort of this 2.5D in a sense game. So a game like this heavily relies on depth perception because you can't control that camera. It's despite being a 3D environment in sort of a linear path, you have these weird, sometimes very odd, questionable fixed camera positions. And I get it, they want to do a fun, kind of cool, creative camera perspective, but it does end up relying heavily on your depth perception, which I don't have. I simply just don't have any. So this game is, as you can imagine, quite hard when things are kind of spinning for me, with the vertigo and already just having a lack of vision. So when you're doing multiplayer, and in my case it was online with my friend, when he was going about playing, sometimes I just let him play at certain points and I just suspend my character. A way to kind of call yourself out of the action and have invincibility for a little bit. You or your friend can kind of go about respawning you. It doesn't cost anything. I can just kind of be like, all right, I'm not good at this part. I can't really do this part. you take over and you progress us. So like that's a cool and fine feature, and you might have some fun with that if you're a little more inexperienced with gaming, or if you again have a disability where this game may present some barriers. I did find it hard though to know my distance, and when the camera angle widens during multiplayer, that can frequently make me lose track of my character, because they just kind of get lost in the well-contrasted world of Mario. Now, as for the expansion of this game, Bowser's Fury, it was actually a pretty enjoyable experience for me thus far. I'm not even done it yet. I'm going through it still, pretty new to it. But it's fun, and I have full camera control. Now, unlike Super Mario Odyssey, that game had an assist mode which had actual like blue arrows and guides to tell you which way to go. This does not. However, there is some mild customization with assistance in the form of Bowser Jr., the character of the son, I believe, of Bowser, the enemy of the game. You can have Bowser Jr. be an ally, and he can collect items or take down enemies for you that are nearby. He was taking down things that I didn't even see were there, and he would just kind of go off on his own and just take care of upcoming enemies for me. So that was cool. So although Super Mario 3D World is a re-release, I don't think the fixed camera has aged very well, and if you have no depth perception or you have a hard time knowing your distance and stuff, it's not going to be a very good experience. It's fun though online to throw your friends off the map. If you just want to have a fun Mario time, go for it. Just go with the expectation that if you have a low vision or visual impairment, it might not be the best experience. Now, on the other side of it, Bowser's Fury, which comes with it, may be a little easier because of the assistance that Bowser Jr. can give you, and in that case, hey, if you just enjoy platformers, even though you have a visual impairment, Bowser's Fury may be a good time. It's Mario. Now speaking of Mario, let's talk about Mario Kart 8, and specifically the port that came to the Switch from the Wii U. Seems to be a trend of this. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is the best-selling game on the Switch. You'll have no problem finding people to play with for this game, and it's a fun time. I've played it for many hours, probably hundreds of hours at this point, and especially when we went into stay-at-home orders, it just became my go-to game to play, besides Animal Crossing for a little bit there. My level of driving skills definitely translates pretty well over to Mario Kart, and what I mean by that is I don't have any. I don't drive. I hope I'm not driving. I wouldn't recommend anyone else who's legally blind to drive. I know some folks who, that's a whole other topic of discussion for another time. This is a good place to drive if you're legally blind. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It has some accessibility features in the form of auto acceleration and smart steering. These are things that you can kind of turn on, toggle on and off when you are customizing your kart. The latter, smart steering, helps to keep you on track, but at the cost of more precise maneuvering and drifting. Now, I would just like to set the expectation that when you are turning these features on, you should be playing more casually rather than thinking that you're playing competitively, because a lot of competitive Mario Kart players, they rely heavily on drifting and precise maneuvering through corners. You really can't do that with smart steering. It's going to help keep you in the center of the track. Now, there are some weird parts where you can kind of fight it, you can really try to fight it, and you can go off the course. Don't think it's going to give you any kind of competitive advantage, because it really won't. It will hold you back a little bit. Now, the next game I want to talk about is Splatoon 2. Splatoon 3 actually just got announced for next year. I'm excited for that. I'm very excited for that. Now, Splatoon is a fast-paced game, and it's visually more accessible than most shooters on the market. Pretty much to give you the context of the game, contrasting colored teams are transforming between humans and squids and compete for territory in the form of ink. You can lock the colors to a yellow and navy blue in Splatoon 2 for guaranteed consistency across these matches. Now, I personally think the game's sound design helps me to navigate, however the music is always present, and that can be a bit of a barrier because it's not at the lowest volume that it could be. The music in Splatoon is charming and it's a good time, but when I'm trying to focus, it can be a little bit distracting. I'm really hoping in this upcoming sequel of Splatoon 3, the developers do really consider even the bare minimum when it comes to accessibility and including adjustable sound controls so that I can whether turn off the music altogether or just have it at a very low set volume, because as a blind gamer, I'm really relying on my ears and touch, as in haptics, to really play games. Now, the next game that I'm talking about is near and dear to my heart, as I mentioned earlier in this video, Pokémon. Pokémon is an entry-level RPG, but it's just fun, it's timeless, it's a good time. I've gotten my toes in the water when it comes to the competitive side of it, and sometimes just the core game itself is just accessible at its difficulty. And you can kind of customize your experience of the game and with team building and all that to if you want it to be a little bit more challenging or quite easy. But the key part is it's an RPG. It's not a real-time RPG. It's literally a turn-based RPG, so you can move at your pace. And for the Nintendo Switch, having a zoom feature that I can double-click the home button by enabling this in the settings, I can zoom into any game. And some games it's not always the most practical to do because you kind of have to stop what you're doing to, or pause in a menu and zoom in. It's great. I can zoom in, I can read and ensure that I'm knowing what dialogue is happening right now. So it's a good time. If anyone from the Pokemon Company, again, wants to improve their accessibility, talk to me. I'm more than happy to help. And I am more than happy to see Pokemon become more accessible when we're talking about technical accessibility features. Now, moving away from the Switch a little bit, I want to talk about Spider-Man Remastered. Spider-Man came out for the PS4 originally, and it came out for the PS5 with a remastered version. They made some improvements to the accessibility in this version. It would be cool to see this kind of go back to the PS4 version. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I don't have it on PS4, I have it on PS5. They've gone to great lengths to improve the accessibility features, and for someone with a visual impairment like myself, I'm able to choose between different kinds of contrast settings and assign colors to different classes of characters. I can also grayscale the world, kind of remove a lot of the texture, so that way it's just sort of gray, black, and white with shading. Along with that, I can also know exactly who I need to interact with, because I can make my allies blue, I'll keep my enemies red, and at the same time maybe make the real bosses purple and then keep my Spider-Man sort of more of a teal color. Beyond the visual contrast settings, you're able to change the difficulty and provide yourself more time for quick time-based events, which is great for me because I'm trying to see what's going on. It takes a few more moments for me to register, and this just again keeps everything visually accessible for myself, and I can complete these missions in a manner that works for me. So once again, Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales on the PS5, big recommendation for those who are visually impaired. Next up is Fall Guys, which I've had a lot of fun with the last few months, and I've actually won a few games. It's a battle royale platforming game where it's very simple controls. It's very easy to get into, and it's got these nice bright contrast colors, which on the surface work well for me. If I had a lot of eye fatigue though that day, I'm going to need to put it down because it will actually cause migraines and hurt, and I really cannot see it if my eyes are hurting continuously. It's a game that I recommend. It's coming to the Switch and the Xbox this summer, and it's available on PS4 and PS5 and PC on Steam right now. Now, there are a lot more games that are including accessibility features and are becoming accessible for us blind, low vision gamers, but I'm going to save more for another day. If this is a video that you do like and you're enjoying, let me know, because then I know to make more of these and to feature more games like Immortal Phoenix Rising and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and again, Clubhouse games, just more games that are available. Now, the last game I want to talk about at this time is The Last of Us Part 2. Not only was this the Game Awards Game of the Year last year, but it also won in the Innovation and Accessibility Award. The fact that a game can be a Game of the Year and innovate within the industry for accessibility, I think that's incredible. I really do applaud Naughty Dog for putting in all the effort, and they've also been adding more accessibility features post-launch, and they've been fine-tuning and improving that. So let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2. At this time, in February of 2021, I think this game is hands down the most accessible AAA title on the market, and it really has set an example for the industry to follow, and hopefully games will surpass in the future. Totally Blind gamers have also successfully beaten this game on harder difficulties thanks to the robust options to customize your gameplay experience. This game offers text-to-speech, and it reads aloud things like title screens, in-game notes, in-game status, and menus as well. You can change between different high contrast settings and toggle them on and off with the touchpad. There's a built-in magnifier feature so that you can zoom in on your game using the touchpad of the controller. The game will also warn you ahead of time if there's an upcoming puzzle that's a bit more visual, and you have the option to skip that. You can receive transversal assistance and navigation assistance to always be on a path of progression. There's also this enhanced listen mode that allows you to send out a radar and listen to items or enemies that are nearby with distinct sounds. There's a whole library too of like all these different audio cues that you can go through and like learn. It's really amazing, and the sound engineers, the audio engineers who worked on this game really put a lot of time and dedication and research into making this game just auditorily one of the most accessible out there. Being able to change the difficulty pretty much on the fly allows you to sort of challenge yourself at different parts if you want to, or make the game at that right setting for you. So that right there is just what I see when I'm playing video games. I hope that helps kind of illustrate what it's like for someone who's legally blind, someone who has different kind of eye conditions, play different kinds of video games. This is my visual experience. Other people who are blind, low vision are going to have other different kinds of experiences. They may benefit from a lot of the same accessibility. Accessibility is broad. It's something that we're constantly, continuously learning about and improving, and we're just knocking down barriers. I do want to hear from you though. Let me know in the comments, do you adjust any of the difficulty settings in your games? Whether you're playing a video game that is competitive, or maybe it's an easier title, if it does offer the ability to change that difficulty from easy, hard, I don't know. Like, sometimes games just don't offer that. Do you always look for that? Do you do not? Let me know. I'm curious. Sometimes for me, personally, I like to change it up. If you want to continuously be a part of this conversation about making games more accessible for blind audiences, I stream over on Twitch. I talk about it with the games that I'm oftentimes streaming, and I answer questions live. It's a good time. We just hang out. Sometimes I bring people in to play games with me, and yeah, twitch.com/James Rath. Sometimes I cross stream that over here depending on the game to YouTube, but typically not, because YouTube's a little bit of a different platform, and I like to talk about different things, different places. Twitter, I will also talk tech and gaming and accessibility. I'm going to go ahead and just stop rambling now. I hope that you could see something different today, and I will hear you next time. Bye.